You actually had a chance to actually take the stage here at the opening ceremonies for this summit. Give us a sense here of the mood, of what people kind of expect to accomplish, even beyond just the big meeting between Xi Jinping and Joe Biden.
Romain, it's great to be with you. Look, this is very important for the city of San Francisco. The city's had some issues over the last number of years in recovering from COVID, and I think this is a real positive shot in the arm for the city of San Francisco. And this city has a lot of energy, more so than I've seen probably since the beginnings of COVID. And I think there's a lot of a sense of hope. Hope that discussions, not only between China and the U.S., but discussions amongst the 21 economies that are represented here, will lead to various breakthroughs in terms of helping small businesses around the world, driving increases in digital trade and digital enablement. So I think it's a very, very positive mood so far in terms of what I've seen.
I have to ask you about your expectations with regards to the relationship between U.S. and China, and whether this meeting that we're all obsessing over could actually produce some sort of material result, some sort of material improvement, I should say, in relations between the U.S. and China.
Well, I'm not in the room, but I can tell you this. I think there's no substitute for dialogue. I'm thrilled that the two leaders and their key folks around them are getting together and talking. I don't think it's realistic to think on a 4-hour meeting you're going to solve all the problems of the world, but I think that it is a very, very healthy sign that they're sitting together and will touch on various levels of discussions. And my hope is that this becomes a jumping off point for more and more dialogue on specific issues amongst the most appropriate and relevant people in each administration to get together and see if we can make progress. But there seems to be a sense of hopefulness and energy that I'm feeling in terms of this meeting that just started to take place about 20 miles south of me.
And Al, of course, Visa did make some news at this conference. I'm reading a press release from this morning that Visa is basically accelerating its support for small and micro businesses when it comes to both the APEC region and globally. Could you give us some context there? What countries are we talking about when we're talking about this support?
Well, the countries we're talking about were the U.S., Mexico, Peru, the Philippines, Vietnam, out of the chute, Indonesia as well. Those are the initial areas of focus. And Katie, the announcement we made today really had 3 parts to it. One is we're making a $100 million pledge from the Visa Foundation to help underserved and women-led businesses in the APEC economies. Secondly, we announced that a goal we set in 2020 to digitize 50 million small businesses and micro businesses around the world, that we've significantly exceeded that, and we've reached 67 million businesses that we've helped digitize. And thirdly, we're not done. We announced today a small and micro business accelerator program where we hope to take many, many more small businesses around the world and help get them digitized. As I think you well know, small businesses are the backbone of virtually every single economy, not just in APEC, but around the world. They're very, very important in terms of employment. They're very, very important in terms of creating real Main Street hubs in communities in which we live, and they're just very important to the economies of these countries.
And now looking through the statement, you make the point in it that if over the last 3 years, you've really seen small business harness the basically digital payments. And given that, you are speaking to us from APEC, talk to us a little bit about the cross-border payment ecosystem and how that's evolving right now.
Well, I think that data is a very, very important fuel around the world. And what happens if you can digitize payments, you can actually open up the world to small businesses beyond just the village that they sit in. If you can have a website and expose your products beyond that little village you live in, you just have a greater opportunity to reach more of the world. But digital elements that come into place in countries are becoming increasingly important. Governments are realizing that if they can give out their subsidy programs and via via digital means, it's much better than vouchers. It also creates more transparency in the collection of taxes. We're working very closely with transit authorities around the world, 700 of them, where if we create open loop payment systems, it makes it a much greater and better experience for the consumer and a much more operationally efficient for the transit authorities. So, and then I think in general, that whole point about opening the world to a greater audience of consumers, all of these things happen when digitization of payments, both domestic and cross-border, are accelerated around the world. And it's something that we certainly are talking to many of the participant nations and economies about.